We are live, young man.
We're live.
Yep.
Great, live on Facebook. Come on, 100 not out. Tell me.
Welcome to 2022.
Hello, everybody.
Happy.
Oh, you know what? I just love it every time I go onto 100 not out's page that we have the 2018 Mediterranean longevity experience.
Updated much? Yeah, totally.
It's a really nice banner, I must admit.
Yeah.
Damo pouring wine, Yanni and Joanna, Athena making some bread or spanakopita, going for a hike. The old priest that you met.
Oh, how nice.
Remember that old priest?
Yeah.
And you were like, I'll come and say hello again when we're back again. I don't think we've seen him since. We've been looking for him.
We've been trying to find you. I went to Oakley. He wasn't there.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
Can't believe he wasn't there.
Got a few people online
Can't
already.
believe it.
Fiona's there. Heidi's there. Wendy said g'day.
Wendy.
Well
done. Well done.
I love that.
Oh, this is exciting. First one of the year, hey?
Can you believe that?
I know. I keep on writing 2021 in my diary.
Do you?
Even today, 12th of the 1st, 21. Can you see that up in the corner?
Yeah. Well, now
12th of the 1st, 20.
I can. Yeah, I can.
Yeah, so just got to I do that every year, though. Just get into the swing of it and you go, oh, that's right. It's 2022. We'll work it out.
We'll get there.
I'll get there.
We are back, Heidi Binder. Thank you for noticing. It's true.
Fiona Davis. Hey, guys, when's COVID going to end? Well, Damo's got his predictions. I think that predictions episode came out on Monday. He called the date, and Damo gets these things right with pandemics. We are so old that we did a podcast during the Spanish flu, and Damo got the end date.
Just like that.
Spot on.
Yeah.
Yeah, just like that. So if you want to know when COVID's going to end, just listen to the episode that came out a couple of days ago.
Mm-hmm.
Peter Leonard says, we are still alive, only just. But we're here. We've been hiding. We haven't been on the socials much at all.
No.
Definitely. I mean, I haven't even shown. I mean, this is how bad I haven't shown anyone how I get around in one of these. I was lying in bed last night having big thoughts about the world going, I haven't taken any photos of me or videos walking with my cane.
Hello, everybody.
And then someone...
It just looks like an Uncle Arthur one.
Someone sent me one of those gifts with like a really old man banging something with his walking stick, and they tagged me in it. Oh, that's cool. So it doesn't look like you much. But it's like, anyway. Funny games.
I love it.
End games.
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
Peter reckons Uncle Arthur as well. I agree. Hello, everybody.
That's Glenn Robbins, right?
Glenn Robbins. How good. What a great actor he was.
Mm. Well, he's still alive. Gee whiz, don't kill him off.
No. But, where do you see him these days? Come on, Glenn. Where are you, Glenn? Now, I actually saw on a TV show last night on Binge.
Trying to kill off Australia's best comedians.
Some of the best. Speaking of some of the best, I saw Kim Gingell on a television show last night.
Oh, yeah.
There you go.
Yes.
One of the greats.
Very well done.
One of the greats.
Well done. What are you watching on Binge?
Love Me.
Love Me.
Mm. I really loved it. I thought the acting was incredible, to be honest with you. We binged 6 episodes in 2 nights, pretty much. It's quality. Got
it. Nice when you get on something. I'm flirting with the idea of getting Stan.
Oh, yeah.
To add to the 7 subscriptions, that we all have. We did a great episode on that.
That was a good episode.
And the breaking of the bank, whatever it is, $7 a month or $10 a month, but 30-day free trial. Because the movie you always want to watch is on the subscription service that you don't have.
Yeah, totally.
So at the moment, I'm all into... Anyway, I want to watch Good Will Hunting again. And the only subscription service it's on is on Stan.
Really?
And the great dilemma is, do I pay $4 to rent it off YouTube?
Mm-hmm.
Or do I pay Stan to watch it for nothing, or get a 30-day free trial? I mean, these are the great dilemmas of life that humans around the world right now are asking themselves, do I get myself another subscription?
Mm-hmm. Well, I love subscriptions.
I'd love to know how many you have. All right, we'll get on to our episode. We've got a big one today. We've got a big one today. Are you ready to rock?
Yeah. Good to go.
Yep. All right. In 3, 2. Hello, Julie Jakes. In 3, 2.
Is it Jakes or
And
Jacks?
have you gone? Are you still there?
Yeah, I'm here. What happened?
Something
happened
happened.
there.
I don't know. Yeah, something happened. Dodgy as.
Hmm.
I don't know. All right. You good?
Yeah, great.
I just hit record in Skype and it all kind of went weirdo.
Belly up.
All right. Well, we'll just carry on. Okay, so we're good, right? We're good?
I think so. Looks good to me.
Okay. Cool. All right, then. Here we go, then. In 3. Oh, shivers. What episode are we doing?
Oh, what are we up
Every
to?
time. Every time I just about go to start this. 460. Right.
It's Julie Jacks. There you go.
No, Julie Jakes. Julie Jakes.
Is that what you said?
Yeah, Julie Jakes. Yep. Yep, absolutely.
Nice, Julie.
Good work. All right, here we go.
Right.
460 coming right up. In 3, 2, and 1. Hello and welcome to 100 Not Out, a weekly show dedicated to helping you master the art of aging well. Marcus Pearce here with you for episode 460, and I couldn't do it without the world's most well-travelled wellness expert. He's been all over the globe.
Yeah.
And massive bombshell here. He's one of the 3 billion people that have got off a plane with COVID-19. He is Dr. Damien Christoph. Hello, Damo COVID Christoph.
Damo COVID Christoph. I love it. Piercy, great to be joining you, albeit virtually. I couldn't get out of here even if I wanted to. I'm stuck here right now, but only for one more day. So I'm looking forward to getting back out into the public. But yes, I went overseas, had a great little holiday. A lot of people going, how can you go overseas? Well, I'll tell you what, it is easier to get overseas than it is to get to Western Australia right now. No, who wants to go to Western Australia anyway? And so we went across to Europe, had a great time over there, did a little bit of snowboarding. In amongst it, 200,000 cases per day over there in France. And we thought that was just Paris. We were going to be all right because we weren't going there. Needless to say, we came back germ-ridden, coated in COVID.
Little bit COVID-y.
Yeah, a little bit COVID-y. It's an amazing thing, because you test negative so often and all of a sudden, bang, you test positive. And then the timer starts and you've got COVID and the symptoms kick in. I'll tell you what, the symptoms do kick in. The aches, the shivers, the sweats, the sore throat, the sore head. I haven't got, despite the size of these nostrils, I can't smell a thing. Like, it's the first time in the history of my life I haven't been able to smell the coffee in Brazil. Like, I can't do it.
If I chew food, though, can you still hear it? Have you still got mesomasticophobia?
Yeah, still got mesomasticophobia. I do.
So COVID has
I do.
that.
I do still have that. My taste came back today at lunchtime, which was really nice. Amber made a delicious little eggs and avocado kind of meal, and that was really lovely. And I was able to taste it, which is good. So then I went and got myself a ginger beer. Loved that. Oh, I've missed flavour, I've got to tell you. But smells, you know what I'm like on a plane. It's nice not to have to be able to smell people because I tell you what, people walk past you crop dusting on the way to the toilet. That's no good. I hate that.
Oh, dear.
Helen Pocock's there. My dad's there. G'day, Larry.
So today we're going to talk to you about your experiences with COVID, and for those people that want to know, I'll ask you the burning questions on what supplements you've been taking and what vitamins and minerals and all the rest of it.
Yeah.
So we'll do that. But a lot of people, particularly in Australia at the moment, are really confused by the testing and the, for want of a better term, the accuracy of some of the testing, and that's not even probably the right word to use. But you did mention that there were 200,000 cases a day in France, and you were down far away from France. But for memory, you were having a lot of tests, but you were continually coming up negative.
Yeah.
And can you just share that experience with people, and then we'll get into how you've dealt with it since you've come home?
Yeah, sure. And I think obviously there's a lot of confusion around at the moment, but what appears to be the case is the most accurate test is a PCR test. And then the next most accurate test that we've got would be the RAT test, the rapid antigen test. And the third most accurate test would be tasting one of your mate's food that they've cooked for you, and you know that they can't cook. And if you enjoy it, it's highly likely that you've got COVID. Something like that, right?
You loved the plain food so much
The
on the way
plain
home.
food, the
And
plain,
you were like, this isn't making any sense.
the plain food was so plain, but it was no, it was actually. We were very lucky because as we walked into the plane, we got to turn left and not right. So we actually did get good food. But you're right. Actually, no, I could still taste at that point in time. So, and I could still smell at that point in time. So I in the lead up to coming back to Australia from Europe, I'd done 2 rapid antigen tests and a PCR test, and all of them were negative. And then literally 25 hours later, once we'd landed back in Australia, we obviously you've got to do it. You've got to do the rat when you land, or go and get a PCR. And we were having to wait 6 or 7 days for a PCR result. So we're like going, nah, we'll do a rat, right? Because you were able to do them now. So we did a rat, bang, positive. I was like, what the heck? Like this is ridiculous. Anyway, so bang, slam the doors closed, just like a Get Smart episode, and we were stuck in the halls of our house, not able to leave for 7 days in quarantine. So that's just the way that it went. But it comes as a little bit of a shock because you kind of go, oh my gosh, now I've got COVID. Like, am I different?
That's kind of, well, we've gone past the point of feeling like a leper to it being somewhat normalized.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
it not being so, oh my gosh, there's someone in our community that's got it. So I gather there's almost that, you're one of millions. But let's go on to that phase now of what you did and like mixed in with your symptoms and the rest. But yeah, what did you start to incorporate more of or less of, or new things into your intake that you did only because you knew you had COVID?
Well, it's funny, because when we first started talking about COVID, and you will remember how frustrated I was getting. I was getting so agitated. Now, talking about different types of drugs that people should take, and make sure you've got your ibuprofen and your paracetamol, and take all these drugs and yada yada yada. But the more that you learn about these sorts of diseases or these sorts of conditions, the more you suppress the symptoms, the longer the symptoms will last, right? So you want to actually encourage your body to have a healthy immune response. And the healthiest way to encourage the immune system to have a healthy immune response is to use the building blocks, the ingredients that the body requires to mount an appropriate immune response. So we're not talking about taking herbs like echinacea or echinacea, as some of our friends have called it, or astragalus, or andrographis, or I don't know, whatever else, olive leaf extract, like all of those sorts of immunostimulating or immunomodulating or immuno-affecting herbs. All of those are used to manage the symptoms of the condition that you will develop. And everyone's COVID is probably like everyone's FODMAP. It's just a little bit different, like everyone's just slightly different. So for me, really sinusy, headache, a lot of back pain, and that's not good when you're a chiropractor and you can't see a chiropractor because you're like, what am I going to do? I was, stuck, can't see anybody with all this pain. Amber's like, need an adjustment. I'm like,
You could adjust her and
no reciprocation, I'll have to tell you. And then, so I had all of those symptoms, and yes, I could have taken paracetamol, and yes, I could have taken ibuprofen, but I knew that these were symptoms that I just needed to get through. I needed to ride through it, and if I could sleep, that was the main thing. So sleeping and maintaining a healthy, appropriate immune response. But what is really interesting is when you're sick, is the you're decreasing consumption of water, and it's not intentional. And that's probably the most dangerous thing because that creates fatigue, that creates hypoxia, that creates dehydration. There's so many things that actually creates an absence of hydration, creates disease in your body, and it makes things much worse. So the hardest thing to do was to maintain hydration, but probably the most important thing to do was to maintain hydration throughout the whole of the thing. That was really important. So what did I do? I took vitamin C, I took zinc, and I took vitamin D. That was the most important thing, or the important ingredients that I recognised were crucial. And as I started off saying 2 years ago when we first kicked off talking about this, that's what I recommended everybody do in the first place: vitamin C, zinc, and vitamin D. They're the key nutrients that your body requires, and I would still say keep doing those things.
I think what's so important here, and I just want to harp on it, is that you've said foundations. So you said hydration was like number one, and C, zinc, and D. And I just want to reiterate this because, again, living where I live in Byron, I feel like it's everywhere. There's so many random left of field nutrient solutions that you've never heard of before that are almost the holy grail of health and healing for COVID. And I think it almost makes it even more scary when you think that this if you get COVID, you're going to have to find this fountain of, what in longevity terms we call it the fountain of youth, the magic bullet, this thing from this Amazonian forest that we've now found is like so effective. I just love, Damo, that you're actually telling everyone your experiences, and it's not rocket science, and it's not stuff that's necessarily hard to get. Yes, it might be a bit more popular, a lot more popular because of what's happening at the moment, but you're not having to find something. A lot easier to get vitamin C than it is to find a rapid antigen test right now, put it that
way. But not for much longer, I can tell you that. Because once this podcast hits the airwaves, everyone's going to be bolting out. They're going to go and get all their zinc and C. Pete's got a great question. Are they like separate capsules? Not really like separate capsules. They actually are separate, Pete. Sorry, I thought that was funny. Marcus wasn't even listening. But
I'm ready. So
vitamin C, I would use C powder. That's what I'd use. And I use a C powder combined with zinc. So I got zinc and C together. And then the D is always a liquid or a capsule. And so that's what I would be doing. That's probably the best way to go. So vitamin C and zinc combined. That's how I do it. And then D. In terms of doses, I can't advise on doses while I'm on, this sort of format. So stick to the dose that is recommended on the bottle. That's the dose that's been tested. And to be honest with you, apart from vitamin D, I probably took what was the recommended dose, to be honest with you. Because
I was just about to ask you that curly question, and you don't have to answer it if you're not comfortable to, but did you follow the daily dose of C, zinc, and D, or did you? I mean, you know your body better than anyone else, and you've been taking all of these for years, so you're going to know. But don't answer if it's not appropriate as a health professional.
Well, no. So for me, the most important thing that I did, was make sure that my diet was adequate and supplied me with the right macronutrients. Really important: protein, fat, carbohydrates. I maintained my hydration. I used a mushroom extract to assist me with the sore throat that I had, and that was really beneficial. I used some olive leaf extract to assist me in just boosting a white blood cell response. But my primary ingredients to maintain the nutrient supply for my immune system were the zinc, C, and vitamin D. Apart from the D, I stuck with the recommended daily allowance. I had extra D than what would be the RDA, but that was based on clinical judgment. So, speak to your pharmacist, naturopath, chiropractor, whoever's going to advise you in that space to work out what your dose would be most appropriate.
Yeah, that probably answers the question from Christina Ragoni. Should the dosage of C, zinc, and D be different if you have COVID versus a daily measure to help keep the body at optimum health and perhaps avoid getting it? I think the answer, Christina, is you got to know your body and also seek some professional guidance.
My thing, Christina, with that is that if you've been taking a daily dose, it's highly likely that your levels of zinc and D will be pretty good. It's just that we don't store C. So you could increase C up. Like you could increase your C a little bit. And that's very, very safe to do. But because we can't store vitamin C in the human body, we have to eat it, we have to consume it. To increase it is probably not a bad thing unless you've got a kidney disease. So, obviously all of this information we speak about today is not specific. It's not intended to replace information or to,
spending time with your health professional to talk about your individual case.
If you want, the more accurate information. But most certainly I would be using those ingredients anyway. So Helen's question is which mushroom extract. I used an extract that I get from Metagenics, and that's a practitioner only one. But I used that because it contains 5 different mushrooms that enable, again, the stimulation of white blood cell activity, and that's been shown in the research, and so I feel comfortable saying that. But again, I would find you a healthcare professional to go with that. Pete's mushroom extract's a little bit different to what my mushroom extract is.
Turning it around and putting it back on him, quick smart. This is good. This is good. Hey,
I love
I'd
it.
love to know, unless you want to add any more on what you were taking during that time. But now that you're on the back end of it, I've spoken to you 2 or 3 times since you've been back. You definitely sound a lot better now than when you came back. We were having some video contact on the weekend. I could see you had kind of not puffy eyes, or maybe puffy eyes. I don't know
More
if that was
puffy than
from
now.
the
Like they're
trip
definitely
home.
more puffy.
Yeah. Like you look a lot better. You sound good. And again, I'm just curious more than anything. Does it? I don't say has it exceeded your expectations? Now that you're on the other side of it, do you go, whoa, that was more than I thought, or that was about on par with what I thought? Like, because everyone's had, like you said earlier, everyone's experience of COVID is going to be slightly different. It's called Welcome to Humanity. But your particular experience, how would you describe it based on what you thought it would be like in your body?
I'll come back to answer that question in a sec. I'll just answer Hado's question. He's asked, how bad will this virus be for those suffering with diabetes? What we do know about this virus is that there are people that are at high risk, Hado. And like with any virus that could, really challenge you, if diabetes is poorly controlled, then you don't need much to send it out of control, further out of control. And that, I think, is one of the dangers. So people with a disease of lifestyle disease, or even an autoimmune disease, do have to be a bit more careful. What I found really interesting about this was I had a mate who had the Delta variant. He got sick with the Delta variant, and so did I. I had the Delta variant, and so did Amber. And the only reason why we know that we had that is because of loss of taste and smell, and that doesn't happen with Omicron. And that it went down to our lungs, and that also doesn't tend to happen with Omicron. Omicron tends to stay in the head and the back of the throat, whereas the Delta one could go all the way through, right? So what's interesting about that is that I had a mate that almost died with the Delta, and he was fit, healthy, 50-odd years old. You would never have expected him to die. And then another mate who thrived, like 37 years old, 10 years younger than me, thrived, no problems, not even an issue. Not, probably the same symptoms as what I had, totally fine. But you just don't know how people are going to be. You just don't know how people are going to be. So, but to put it into context and to answer your question, Piercy, I didn't really know how I was going to react when I got it. I didn't know how I'd be. Like, obviously, I'd had a cold before and I'd had a flu before. And I would say that this is somewhere between... It's definitely worse than a cold for me. And it's probably more like a flu. I could assume. Like, I think every year I get some kind of cold or flu kind of thing that lasts for 2, 3 or 4 days. And this kind of felt like that. Maybe if anything, slightly worse than that. But when I look at Amber, for example, and she had a really big response, like her immune response was quite significant. She was wrecked. But the escalation out of it, so once you're through that contagious phase and once you're through that really sick phase, you come out of it really fast, and your repair is miraculous. And it's a great reminder of how incredible the human body actually is, to be able to, get you to be back on track and feeling absolutely amazing again, because it's not an intervention that gets you right. It's your body that gets you right. It's the interventions that might assist your body to get you right, but it's your body that gets you right. And it's a great reminder of how incredible the human body is to actually get you through this virus, which is weird because you literally can watch it sweep through the world and just take people out. And this is what we've just experienced. So quite fascinating, really fascinating.
That's a beautiful way to end this episode, Damo, to actually remind all of us that, when the inevitable happens, and it is something that we're experiencing ourselves, to witness the body at work and do its thing is a thing of absolute wonder. And I love the way that you expressed that. And as always, when we do these very hard-hitting interviews with you, Damo, thanks so much for being so open and honest. And I know based on all the questions in the chat here that there's a lot of people that have absolutely loved you sharing your experience. It humanises the virus, takes it off the headlines of the 6 o'clock news and humanises it. So thank you.
Who's sick of hearing about Novak Djokovic? You know, everybody. Anyway, let's not go there.
They needed a distraction. Cases were getting boring. They needed a distraction.
Exactly. Let's go hunt a famous
nothing like
tennis player.
Immigration to change the headlines. So yeah, but thanks, Damo. That's been sensational and no doubt a keeper for everyone when again they need to know how you've approached it and handled it. So thanks for your wisdom as always, Damo.
Thank you, PC. Thanks for asking the questions. I do like sharing, and I like to make things a bit easier for people. So hopefully that's given people some solace, some understanding, a bit of comfort that your body can get through it. Give yourself the opportunity. Eat great food, drink lots of water, and use the supplements that are appropriate. You know.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, a lot of love in here. Take care, Damo. Thank you for sharing. Take care, Jack. Good luck, Damo. Get well. Take care. Miss you, says Wilma.
They've moved back to the
Good
States.
on you. A lot of love in there. A lot of love. For more on Damo's wisdom, folks, make sure you head on over to DamienChristoff.com, myself, MarcusPearce.com.au. Thanks to all of the listeners and the people in the 100 Not Out world that have been subscribing and listening and sharing the podcast with their friends and family over the years. If you haven't done so, open up a whole new world to your friends and family. Share with them 460 episodes of 100 Not Out. No idea where to start. Maybe episode 1. The audio is dodgy.
You can't get it.
You can. If you Google it, you can.
Yeah, but not
you won't
on,
get on iTunes.
Yeah, but not on your iPhone.
You'll get it on Spotify, just not on Apple Podcasts. Okay. Yeah, you got to change podcast providers. It's just a bit of an Apple thing. So once we sign our $20 million Spotify exclusive deal, we won't have to even, we'll just tell everyone to listen on Spotify. I've got to talk to you about that deal too. Okay. All right, to everyone who's been listening, thank you for your support. And until next week, as always, continue to make the rest of your life the best of your life.
Bye for now.
All right, boom, boom.
Boom, boom.
Great. That's fabulous. Well done. Second app. Good work. Well done. A lot of love in that chat box. We've got another episode to record now, folks.
Yeah, if you're going to be sticking around, stick around. Stick around. It'd be great. I know.
You're going to have a panic attack because you're going to see the title. You can't change the title. Can you change the title mid recording?
Yeah.
All right. I often feel like we've got to do another live because we're doing another episode. Please don't go to Spotify exclusively. Pete, $20 million.
Yeah.
That's the exclusive deal on the table right now.
Yeah.
What would you do, Pete?
Yeah. What would you do, Pete? What would Pete do?
He'll start calling us sellouts in a minute.
Yeah. Call me what you want if we get 20 million.
Money wouldn't change you, Damo.
Yeah.
Got to cut the grass, Jack.
Yeah. All right, off you go, Dad.
Good one. All right. So I'd take 20 mil. Good on you, Pete. There we go. You're on board. You're on board.
You can be our manager.
Okay. Shall we dance?
Uh-huh.
All right. Here we go. In 3, I better hit record. Where's the record button gone this time?
Uh-oh.
Skype. Yeah, can you just record? It's kind of gone. Skype. Why do we give them so much love?
Fiona, I did go to Switzerland. I was in Geneva. So I came back from France, from Megève, and then went to Switzerland, which we're going to talk about in a second.
Yeah, that's what we're going to do. I can't record for some reason. Can you record?
Yeah.
Right. It's there. No, it's not. Okay. Stupid thing. All right. Damien is using a device. That's great. Okay. Let me know when you're recording.
Yeah, it's recording.
Okay. Here we go. In 3.
No, it says it's starting recording.
Oh, yep.
There we go. It's recording now.
Okay. Here we go. In 3, 2, and 1. Hello and welcome to 100 Not Out, a weekly show dedicated to helping you master the art of aging well. Marcus Pearce here with you for, can you believe it, episode 461. That is over. Oh, no, not quite. It's almost 9 years with the world's number number one wellness expert. He is the Sultan of Switzerland. He is Dr. Damien Christoph. Hello, brother.
I love it. I love it. Hello, brother. It's great to be back with you. And obviously, we just chatted before about COVID. And if you need information or just a bit of humanity about this disease, go back to the previous episode and listen to that, because that I think was a good episode. We actually spoke about some good stuff. And I brought COVID back from Europe.
So you're the reason we're in this mess.
No.
It's your fault.
No, there's already a problem. You know, it was amazing. While I was over there, I was like, how's it all going back there? People were going, oh, bring back some rats. I'm like, what are you talking about? You know, you can't get rapid antigen tests. And I was like, what, really? What's going on? And I didn't realise that we're having this escalation of case numbers. You know, Victoria the other day had 57,000 cases or whatever it was. It was enormous. Actually, it's quite exciting, to be honest with you. So, but, you know, I'll tell you the reason what I'm seeing happening. And when I was over in Europe, what I really enjoyed witnessing was that, yes, COVID's sweeping through it. They're in the middle of winter over there, and COVID's sweeping through it. But there's not a lot of panic about it. There's a lot of awareness about it. There's not a lot of panic about it. So they kind of go, oh, yeah, cool, no worries. It's like a flu. You've got to be careful. Let's all wear our masks. Let's just do what we've got to do to be healthy and well. But let's not close the businesses down. Let's just enable people to go to work and just be sensible about it, right? So
amazing. I
know, right? Imagine what millennia of intelligence passed down through the generations can actually do. A bit better than 250 years or whatever it is that we've got.
We've got convict consciousness.
Oh, my
We just haven't got European consciousness anyway.
Don't get me started, PC.
We can't help it. We can't help being young. We're young. You can't. Like I said to someone the other day about our 2-year-old Spencer, like, he can't help being two. Yep. We can't help being 200 years old only. It just has its drawbacks sometimes.
Yeah, it does. It really does, doesn't it? It really, really does. What are we, 234? Is that what we are? 234 years old. Wow. I remember the bicentennial. It wasn't that long ago. 34 years ago. But so we're over there and not realising the enormity of the situation taking place over here in Australia. We kind of just going about your life. You're just kind of doing it. But what I was able to reflect on was that's what I think we're trying to do here now. Is we're trying to just get it out into the community, like moving it into the community, and hopefully we don't get the hospitalizations, and hopefully we don't get the increase in ICU. And that's really going to come down to the understanding and a reduction of the fear associated with COVID, because it used to be, what the fuck? We've got one case, you know. We've got a case. Shut the place down.
Lockdown.
Yeah, lockdown. You know, oh, that's what McGowan would say. But now, you know, the rest of the country said, oh, we've got 5 cases. We're locked down. So now we're in a situation where we're like, okay, we've got 50,000. Let's not stress about it. Let's just try and get this through the community. Now, how that's going to play out is through an ease of caution, an ease of fear, an easing of the fear rhetoric and language that the media has perpetuated. So we've got, and the politicians, I think, like when you go back and you look at what they've been saying, I think that they've said what they've said, and then on top of that, the media has slapped on, you know, the politicians have gone and done a white paper, and then the media has gone and slapped on their brand, and it's either been incredibly alarmist using the same content, or, you know, relatively moderate if you didn't, you know, have the alarmist, you know, badge on it. But I think what's really interesting about it is when you look at it, it's kind of like, well, look, whatever choice you make, COVID has the potential to really harm, or it has the potential to be, you know, relatively mild. That's kind of what's been said. It's just that the media said, you know, or added a bit of juice to it, or a little bit of chunk to it. So that's created the concern for a lot of people, and so that I haven't really known how to manage it. But really, at the end of the day, it's for most people. And when I say most people, I'm talking for like the vast majority of people. It's going to be like a cold or a flu.
So what I'd love to know is, and this is just taking. I almost want to go into a little bubble here. Mm-hmm. Being overseas, like you've said, there's a whole different awareness around COVID, and let's call it, maybe there's a maturity around it. Yeah. But what I would love to know is, what does it feel like? Because obviously, given the restrictions, we've all been banging on about local holidays and, support your local towns or your whatever state you're in, and, or maybe Melbourne, whatever you are. Like, what's it like to go on the other side of the world? Did it feel, indulgence, not the word, but did it feel like bizarre, like to almost go, oh my gosh, there's a world beyond Australia? Like, it feels like it feels so, novel's not even the word. It's so hard to get your head around. Like, what was your response? How was it to step off the plane and go, oh my gosh, I'm in Switzerland?
Well, firstly, it was just a weird thing turning up to the airport, and there's hardly anyone at the airport. And so then you get onto a plane, but the plane was full, so it wasn't like there was 50 planes leaving. There might have been 5 or 10 planes leaving. And so you get on the plane, we went into the lounge, that was empty. We went in onto the plane. But it was because we bumped into people. Like, so you're bumping into people that you know, because there's not lots of people. So in Melbourne's a small place, right? So we're bumping into people that we know.
Yeah,
jump on the plane. Yeah, we're going to go there. Oh, we're getting off at Dubai, and then we're going to go over to America. That's what our friends were saying. We're getting off at Dubai, and then we're going on to Geneva, and then we're transiting from Geneva over to France, and we're going to go snowboarding. And it was so cool. Like, it was such a great feeling to know that we were able to do that. And people were like going, what? How can you challenge? How can you travel? Like, are you able to get out of Australia at the moment? And we're like, yeah, like, you can get out of Australia. It's getting back that was the concern. And my nervousness, the most amount of my nervousness was, if I caught COVID over in Europe, and then I had a positive PCR, then I wouldn't have been able to get back into Australia. And so that was my number one concern. I was like, what happens if this happens? So, and you don't know when you're going to catch this thing. You don't know how you're going to catch it. We're all going to catch it. There's no doubt about it. But what was really interesting was to be overseas, not in your country, and totally removed from what was happening in Australia.
Yeah, I mean, the accents. I'm thinking the accents, the food, the climate.
Oh my
so
gosh.
Opposite. Like, everything. It would have been like a stimulation.
Well, I'll tell you what. When we landed, we went straight from the airport in Geneva. We drove straight into France, went straight to a restaurant, and we had some food, some champagne, some cheese, and of course you have cheese when you're in France.
Totally.
And it was on. So for the next 8 days, non-stop, it was just heaps of food and heaps of alcohol, and we just had an amazing time, just really hanging out with our friends and really just letting our hair down, as a metaphor, right? So it was really an amazing time. It was great. It was beautiful. Like trying to bring up some of the French words and the French phrases that I learned over the years to be able to try and talk French. And I think the words that I did learn or that I do know got a little bit better, but I still didn't use them much. Like, it'd be,
Go on, give us some of your best.
I would say my first thing I asked was, "Do you speak English?"
And you say that in English?
And they all spoke English, right? I'm from Australia. Do you speak English? And there was nothing that was ever brought up about the submarines, I have to tell you. And we thought that we might have been in a little bit of trouble, but we weren't. They didn't even know. Like, honestly, I think our media made more of it than what their media did. Like, there was
only because he called him a liar. It was great media fodder. No one else cares about submarines unless there's a bit of controversy.
Yeah, totally.
So did it feel weird being an Australian in France? Like, often, pre-COVID, you'd travel all over the world and you'd see people from your country. You'd hear Australian accents and all the rest of it. I'm kind of getting I'm assuming you didn't see as many tourists as you probably would have in 2018 or 19.
Nah, well, so when we got there, our friends who are Australian, they had their parents with them as well, and their brother with them as well. So, there was a lot of Australians there at the time. But
family holiday, good on you, mate. Well done.
That was not how it worked. That's not what happened, Piercy, and I don't know why you'd say that. Where do I go with that, Piercy? Such an asshole. Like, now what do I say?
Unbelievable.
What do I say now? Anyway, so
You say you're such good friends
So
that
we
you're
are
just like,
great friends. We are all great friends, and so we're able to share their family holiday, which is beautiful. So thank you, PC. And so, but when we got there, Ben stood up. He goes, "These are my friends from Australia," and like everyone that was there from France, like looked around, and was like, "Yay, way, welcome, welcome." It was really cool. Like it was, we felt like superstars for sure. But everywhere we went, Ben would say, "These are my friends from Australia. These are my friends from Australia." And people are like, "Oh, wow, that's amazing. You're from Australia?" And you're like, "Yeah, we're
did
from
you get
Australia."
in? Or how did you get out?
Yeah, that's right. They go, "Oh, how's it been? Like, you've very hard lockdowns over there. It's been very difficult for you. We're here, you poor thing. How are you surviving?" kind of thing. And so, particularly when we told them we're from Melbourne, they're like, "Oh, wow, you're from Melbourne?" It was
Even know about Dan Andrews. They're like, how is Dictator Dan going?
it was like we'd just broken down the Berlin Wall. Seriously, it was just like that. It was
I can
amazing.
only imagine how novel it would have been. That's what I've been really interested to get your take on.
Yeah,
It's almost like the new frontier of travel. It's like, oh, we haven't seen people from Australia for millennia. It's like, oh, they still exist. They still travel. They can get out. And what's it like snowboarding in the middle of the Australian summer? Does it
yeah,
did it feel just
that was
weird?
weird. Yeah, it was weird. It was weird because I still had a tan. I still had my golf tan, and so like I was brown from playing golf, and then I've jumped on the slopes and it's freezing. Like really cold. But I was still moderately tanned from playing golf. But it was really strange because it's not what your body's used to. Like you've come from quite warm climate to then go into very, very cold climate and wet. So it's I mean, that happens in Melbourne anyway, so it's not too big a shock to the system. But it's still a shock to the system because, you're not really expecting it. But, like, I would love to ski in Europe again because it was so much fun, and the slopes are so big and wide and long, and I actually got to experience the snow falling and stuff like that that I hadn't properly experienced before in the past. So it was really quite
Does
cool.
it give you that for everyone that's listening and considering their just travel options, like I'm assuming it whets your appetite regardless of the no doubt extreme amount of administrative load it adds, and like you said, the potential for anxiety when you get to certain checkpoints and the rest.
Yeah.
Going through all of that, does it still whet your appetite to do more of it? You're
Yeah.
happy to pay that price, that load in order to do it? Because I mean, it's almost part of the human spirit that we want to travel, whether it's short distances or far.
Yeah.
I mean, even homebodies still like to get out of town every now and again, but like it does make you want to continue to do it.
Yeah, 100%. I can't wait. And, we'd love to go again in June, July, to get back over to Europe again. So we just love the idea of traveling, and we don't feel put off by all the paperwork. The paperwork is the paperwork, you've got to get through the checkpoints. And so in order to get through the checkpoints, these are the hoops that you got to jump through, and these are the boxes you got to tick. And so you tick the boxes, jump through the hoops, and then you get to do the things that you love to do. And it's not like the freedoms have been taken away from us. It's there. It's all there to be had. It's just a little bit more complicated. So instead of taking your passport, you're now taking your passport plus,
All the other stuff.
10 other different QR codes.
Yeah.
So it is what it is. But it's all definitely worth it. It was all worth it. For sure.
Yeah. And again, without wanting to breach private conversations, you're saying once you're over there, it's not as hard as one might think to move from one area to the other. It's not like the border controls that we have here, where it's like you can't drive 300 k's without thinking that you're going to get pulled up because you're in a different state with a different border.
Yeah.
You didn't experience all of that.
No, there's none of that disgraceful behaviour. None of that disgraceful behaviour by any of the presidents or politicians over in Europe. That disgraceful behaviour has been left to Australian
To
politicians.
Australia.
Yeah,
Our convict consciousness.
Well, I think
This is how
it's
we do it.
beyond convict consciousness. It's like it's really poor behaviour, and a lack of respect for humans. And I know that you could argue, well, they're all just trying to protect, and I get that, and I now recognise that's what they've been trying to do. But some of the language that's been used and the way in which it's been done has been so inhumane. And we see, and again, like we're seeing how Australia can be very inhumane in the treatment of individuals. We're seeing that again at the moment. So we've got to be really, really careful with the way in which we move forward with this. We don't want to have to continue to repeat that sort of behaviour. It's not appropriate. And if we look at the lessons that we could learn from, or the things that we could learn in terms of lessons from Europe and other countries around the world that have managed COVID well, I think it should give a lot of people some hope that we can keep on living our life and, get travelling again. But we do need to learn some stuff from overseas for sure.
This is completely off topic, but I'm going to say it anyway. Europe to me feels like the wise old great-great-grandparent that is still alive and has wisdom that we could all learn from, but people find that great-great-grandparent too old and slow and boring, and they can't be bothered putting their ears up to the person's mouth to listen to what they've got to say. So instead they just do it their own way, and they don't listen. And I'm like, if only the eyes of the world are on us, but we don't really care for what the eyes of the wisdom of the old world might want to share. But anyway, that's a little soapbox for another day.
Yeah.
This has been fun. Thank you, as always, for sharing. As I said, you're just back from Europe. It's great to get some experiences of what the other world is like. It's been all about you these first 2 episodes of the year.
Yes, I know.
Damo's
so sorry,
COVID.
Piercy.
No, don't apologise. This is what we want. We want to humanise international travel again. We want to humanise COVID. And now that we've done these 2 episodes, we'll click back into our longevity conversations. But I think at times like this, when people are they're so done with the news, and even people that are just everyday consumers, they are done with the same repetition of headlines and cases and deaths and hospitalizations and ICU. It's like, where's the humanity in it all? So I just think I thank you. I thank you for giving us so much of your energy for the last 2 episodes, because you've humanized international travel. You've humanized what it's like having COVID, and we really appreciate it. So thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome, PC. Thank you. And thanks, everybody. Hopefully you feel safe and excited about traveling again. And Wilma, I know you're over in the US now, and I hope you're safe over there and having a good time. And I actually just saw my brother. He just flew to LA on Australia's first A380 flight to Los Angeles just before, and
is he the pilot?
He was the pilot, yeah, and he landed it. So I just saw the landing. It was absolutely fantastic. So it was really cool, very, very cool.
And of course, if anyone wants to know about Damo's brother, go back to listen to about episode 450, how he turned orange when Damo gave him a lifetime supply of carrot juice as an experiment.
Sorry about that. Sorry about that, Trog. Yeah.
The first return flight to LA. So good. Well, we look forward to having your company again next week on 100 Not Out. For more wisdom from Damo, head on over to DamienChristoff.com. Don't ever consider putting 2 Fs on Christoph. You'll get nowhere when you're looking for Damien Christoph. Yes. And myself, MarcusPearce.com.au. That's EA. Don't ever put an IE in there. You'll get nowhere. To everyone who makes this podcast possible, to our listeners, to our viewers here on Facebook, to Joseph Tomo, our editor, thank you for all of your support. And until next week, episode 462, may the rest of your life continue to be the best of your life.
Bye for now.
Boom, boom, boom.
Thanks, Fiona. Thank you, Fiona.
That was good. Thanks, guys.
Yeah. Great, thanks, Pete. I don't know what you meant there, Pete, with your little notes.
Big F-bomb.
Yeah, he's dropping F-bombs and
big F-bomb.
Yeah, and the P-bombs, and I was like, wow, Pete, what's going on with you, Pete? Gee whiz.
Something happened. Oh, he's got angry. He cracked it. Yeah, he cracked it.
Yeah.
Oh dear. Oh well. There we go.
It's unlike Pete.
It's all right. Maybe he was in a different thread. He didn't know.
Yeah, maybe.
Random messages from people, and it's like, oh, sorry, wrong person.
Wrong person. Absolutely.
Oh dear, I've done that on because I know you love this. I've done that on audio message a couple of times. You know how much you love audio messages. I sent them to the wrong person. Don't think that was for me. Anyway.
Peter Lennon says just done. What does just done mean? Done with the daily counts. Oh, right. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Thanks, Christina.
Yeah.
Totally.
Absolutely.
Are they still doing daily counts? Who's doing daily counts?
I love it. They're getting so big now.
Are they?
So they get even more juice.
Oh.
Do you remember when it was like the 100th day of 0 cases? Now it's like 45,000 cases. Let's get more. 57,000 cases. Yeah, I'm sure that's why they want everyone to declare their rat test so they can go 97,000 cases. Ah! Anyway,
Fiona's in South Australia. That's where my dad is too, Fiona. And yeah, like I know you guys got a lot of concern about it, but you know the reality is it's going to come into the state, and you just got to do whatever you feel like is comfortable, what you feel most comfortable with in terms of keeping yourself safe. That's the most important thing. And when I say safe, not away from it, it's like how are you going to manage
it's
it
the
when you get
inevitable.
it?
It's just like the first fight in a relationship, guys. It's inevitable. You can't avoid it. You can't run away from it. Shouting dinners and breakfasts and going on holidays. Well, that's just going to bring it on quicker. You can't avoid it. Not happening.
Yeah.
How's that for a metaphor? Pretty terrible, actually, but it works.
It works. It works. We're going to finish off the Facebook broadcast, everyone. I'm going to click finish. Great to be with you again in 2022. See ya next week. Will we next week?
Yeah, let's say yes. And if we let everyone down, because we'll get a call from someone. If we're not, we'll let you know.
All right. Cool. See ya. Bye.
See you, Facebook.
Bye.
Oh, that was fun.